It looks like Mitchell Robinson is headed back to New York. According to recent reports, the Knicks are expected to re-sign Mitchell Robinson on a 4-year, $60 million deal. Now, locking down their young center on a long-term deal is a big win for the Knicks organization, and this video is going to explain why. First, let's briefly recap Mitchell Robinson's season. Mitchell Robinson's 4th year on the Knicks was an up and down year. He started off the season slow, coming off a foot injury he sustained at the end of last season. He was also noticeably a lot slower due to adjusting to his new body after putting on a lot of muscle in the offseason. But by the halfway point of the year, Mitch started to get his rhythm back and started to play a lot like his old self. The Knicks had to re-sign Mitchell Robinson because he's one of the best centers in the NBA, and at just 24 years old, locking Mitch down for the next 4 years solidifies their young core. Mitch has his limitations on offense, but he's one of the best defensive centers in the league. On the season, Mitch's 2 blocks per game ranks 4th in the entire NBA. At 7 feet tall with a 7'4" wingspan and with quick reflexes and great timing, Mitch is extremely difficult for driving players to finish over, making him a great rim protector. Mitch is also pretty light on his feet, which gives him the ability to defend multiple positions. We don't see much of this because the Knicks run a drop coverage defensive scheme rather than switching, but when switched onto a perimeter player, we've seen plenty of times that Mitch can more than hold his own. And along with being great defensively, Mitch is also a monster on the glass. He was also 3rd in offensive rebounds a game in the entire league. Mitch knows how to use his size and athleticism to be a presence on the boards, and he regularly turns missed shots into putback dunks or second chance opportunities for his teammates. On a defensive glass, he boxes out pretty well and does a pretty good job of securing defensive boards. Now let's talk about the offensive end. We all know that Mitch is very limited on offense, and at this point, it's unrealistic to expect that he'll ever turn into an offensively gifted center, but he still brings good value on that end because of his elite finishing. Mitch's size and athleticism also makes him a great dunker and alley-oop target. In fact, he's such an exceptional finisher and lob target that 2 years ago, he broke Wilt Chamberlain's record in field goal percentage with a 73% field goal percentage. And he would have broken his own record again if he had taken more attempts this season, as he had a 76% field goal percentage. Now, Mitch doesn't stretch the floor with his jump shot, but his ability to catch lobs at a high level provides vertical spacing. Now, Mitch only averaged 8 points per game, but that's largely because he never played with an elite pick and roll guard that can set him up for easy baskets. The Knicks are also expected to sign Jalen Brunson, a high-quality point guard that's adept at running the pick and roll. With Jalen Brunson now on board, I would expect Mitchell Robinson to average a career high in points per game. But we also have to talk about Mitchell Robinson's flaws. He only shot 48% from the free throw line last season, and being that poor a free throw shooter tends to make you a liability at the end of games. But if Mitchell Robinson can get that free throw percentage up to 70%, he won't be as much of a liability. Overall, Mitchell Robinson is a great defensive center, and at just 24 years old, he hasn't even hit his prime yet. At worst, he's a solid starting center for the Knicks, but at best, he could be a defensive player of the year caliber player. Re-signing Mitchell Robinson on a 4-year, $60 million deal could easily wind up being a steal years down the line. With Mitchell Robinson soon to be re-signed and Jalen Brunson on board, this is starting to look like a good offseason for the Knicks. Click this video to see why Jalen Brunson is a perfect fit for New York.